Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Buddy Fight video. Today I'm going to be talking about cards that I want to see banned. So, Buddy Fight doesn't really seem like they're using their Forbidden Unlimited list a whole lot, and I feel like with how high power the game is compared to what it was, let's even just say a year ago, is two completely different power states, and I feel like they should really be taking a bit more of an active approach on using their banned and limited list. So the first card that I really want to see banned is Overturn Black Death Dragon Abygale. So what his Overturn ability does is at the beginning of your opponent's next turn, end that turn, and then during your next turn, cards on your field can't attack. Well, you're playing in Darkness Dragon World most of the time, or you're going to be using the Overturn ability to basically just get yourself into Lost World after drawing into Lost World. So either way, you don't really care that you're not going to be attacking because you're just going to be winning the game either through burn damage or an alternate win condition the next turn. And because the opponent doesn't really get to play their turn, they don't really get a chance to actually defend themselves, unless they are lucky enough to have the proper defenses in their hand, but that's a very slim chance given how decks are currently designed in a Buddy Fight. But I'll get to that in a later video. But regardless, his Overturn basically at this point just says, Overturn, win the game. And I feel like that's just a very bad and unhealthy interaction because it's just not very fun or engaging, and it's just a very feels bad moment. So similarly, I want to see Overturn Ice Emperor Miserea banned from the game because of his Overturn ability. So his Overturn ability is basically a soft reset on the board where it nullifies all of their abilities, then returns all of the cards from each player's hand, field, drop, and gauge back to the deck, and then each player draws 6 cards and gauges 2. So the reason why I really feel like this card should be banned, even though the protection that we've gotten kind of helps mitigate Ice Emperor Miserea's ability, it's the fact that that soft reset can basically just swing the game in a complete 180 direction out of nowhere and create some very feels bad moments because now you thought you had a good defense setup, but they top decked Ice Emperor Miserea and now you just have your engine cards and you can't really properly defend yourself. It's just another interaction that's similar to Overturn Abygale, where basically the reset could just lock the opponent out of the game and they could just win off of his ability because now they could rebuild their board or make it even stronger than it was before, and your board is going to be, design-wise, it's supposed to be non-existent, and given the current power level of the game, every deck has such an insane level of high damage that without the proper defense cards, you will just lose the game. So his Overturn is a little bit more loose on the you win the game, but it's still basically an almost you win the game Overturn ability, which, again, is not very healthy and not very interactive and not very fun. The next card I want to see banned is 4th Omni Firelord Burn Nova Rebuddy. So this is the newest card on the list that I would like to see banned, but I feel like just with how high power everything is and based on what people are doing with the card, I feel like it's creating some very unhealthy play patterns and just creating not fun environments to actually play the game in. So what the card's ability is doing is you basically call this card from your hand by paying its call cost, and then you drop all cards in your hand, and then all your monsters on your field can't be destroyed by attacks, and you can't take damage. Then, during the next turn, all cards on your field can't be destroyed or leave the field or be rested by your opponent's card effects. So, he basically just says the turn he comes in, you can't lose the game, and then the following turn, your opponent can't interact. He's almost like you play this card, you're going to win, and even if you manage to survive a turn with him and whatever else you have on the field, the big problem is people are figuring out ways to recycle him, so that way they just actively can't lose the game. And a prolonged game where you can't lose the game just means that you're going to win the game eventually. So it just creates a very not fun environment to play in, because it just takes all of the fun out just because you managed to play him and you looped him a couple of times and now you just win because of it. Like, it's just not a very fun card to play against. And I don't think it's healthy for decks to just do nothing but try to loop him so that way they don't lose the game and they just win off of the back of him. So he's just way too powerful and way too abusable. And the fact that he's an Omni Lord means that every single deck in the game can run at least one copy of him. He just has a whole bunch of unhealthy interactions, and the fact that all decks can also run Lost World just further exacerbate the problem that he presents. He needs to be banned. And then the last card on the list is probably the oldest card on the list, and that is Disturb Hand Dragon. Basically what this card does is it says your opponents can't draw cards borderline out of their draw phase. What he actually says is your opponents can't draw cards by card effects, but that's literally everything except for your draw phase. He basically just says your opponent can't draw cards, and with the amount of card draw and resource gaining that Buddy Fight has, like, it just actually makes certain decks just unplayable. Like, he gets on the field and then the opponent just can't actually play their game. And that's a very bad and unhealthy interaction, on top of which the problem is further exacerbated because Grace of the Sun deity exists, and Grace, if they try to remove him, Grace just says, no, he's staying, and you're just not playing the game anymore. And that's kind of like the common theme between all four of these cards, is they set up interactions to where your opponent just actively can't play the game, and not in the fun way where the game was just a long grind fest, but like in the terms in which that they actively can't actually do anything, and no matter what they do, if they even have an option, their options just aren't even good enough or non-existent. That's kind of why I feel like all of these cards should be banned. They each present their own problems for the game as a whole, and are very unhealthy and create very unhealthy board states and play patterns, on top of, like, just, they're bad. Like, they need to get banned. That's kind of all I have for this video. Feel free to tell me in the comments section down below what you feel like are cards that should be banned and or limited, and why. And as always, feel free to like and subscribe for more Buddy Fight content, and I'll see you in the next video.